And you're still watching Prime Morning. This is the News Flash segment, which is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phone papa perfect, whatever gadgets you're looking for, whether mobile phones, televisions, or CCTV cameras, we say worry no more, we've got you covered. You can actually download the app on your phone, which is the Franco Trading app, or for further inquiries, you can visit our website, www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still phone papa perfect. Now, the newspapers have a lot they're reporting. We'll go on to that before we go to our main topic for this morning. You can send your messages to us on 055 157 5757 055 157 5757. Now, we'll start off with a conversation around the fuel prices, which have dropped. Now, talking about that, currently, if you go to the fuel pumps, you shouldn't pay anything above 12 Ghana cedis, 2 pesos for petrol, and for diesel, 12 Ghana cedis, 89 pesos. So it's happening. But how is this happening? It's because the city has appreciated. We'll be raising Isaac Ofori-Atta on our Zoom to join us to explain to us how this is working, and also we'll have our guest seated as we delve deeper into that conversation. Then later, we'll bring you the conversation between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, that's the former Finance Minister, where he has been asked to appear before the Office of the Special Prosecutor for some investigations, else he will be termed as a fugitive like it was some time ago. If also, they will tell Interpol to expedite him back to Ghana. All right, so that will be our conversations for this morning. So keep your messages coming in. My name is Roslyn. I'll start off with the Today newspaper. Today newspaper. Empower schools to dismiss recalcitrant students. Prepare for leadership positions, Indum tells NSBT graduates. Preserve sanctity of Elmina Castle, PPP's National Chair writes to Tourism Minister and government to announce new cocoa price in August. The Daily Graphic newspaper is the next newspaper. The Daily Graphic. EVAT system. GRA signs on 3,000 businesses, 5,000 more prepare to onboard. Zoom Lion signs waste management deals in 3 countries. Government supports Ghana Bauxite Company's smooth operation. And ban on drumming, noise making. GPCC raises concern over harassment, calls for stakeholder dialogue. Right, this will be it for the Daily Graphic newspaper. But when is this ban ending, though? Let me see if I'll find that, because I know there are so many people out there who are waiting for the ban to be lifted, and then they can go ahead and have the activities. So, let's see. All right, so the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council has expressed concern and displeasure over how the ban on drumming and noisemaking is being enforced by a task force of the Ghana Traditional Council in part of the Greater Accra region. It said, while the GPCC recognized and respected the cultural heritage, customs and traditions of the Ghana people, especially the annual observation of the ban as part of the Homo Festival, we are disturbed by the increase in reports of intimidation, harassment, and in some cases, the unlawful entry, assault, and disruption of church service by certain individuals purporting to be members of the task force. All right, so let me see. Okay, the Traditional Council, this year's ban on drumming and noisemaking took effect from Monday, 12th of May, and will end on Thursday, June 12. Okay, so next week, June 12, that is when the ban will end. So after June 12, you can go ahead and have all your activities. Great. That's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper. The next newspaper is a Daily Gist newspaper, the Daily Gist. Confusion rocks NPP over Wuntumi's bail. Brian steps in. Ofori-Atta dodges OSP, seeks a virtual probe from US. So we are talking about this morning. Ransford Jampo traded UTAG for post, and bailiff ambushes Kofi Aban with content documents in public. That'll be all for the Daily Gist newspaper. The next newspaper is the Canary newspaper. Wow, is it Canary Wharf or is it regular Canary? All right. So there's a place in London called Canary Wharf. So pardon me if I just said it. It's just by the way. Cocoa Advocacy Group calls on government to address price disparity. Health Minister swears in more boards of key health agencies. Remain in the Catholic Church after confirmation. Bishop advises Catholics. Okay. So you have to be there once you are confirmed. But people seem to be leaving. Where are you going to? Where are you going to? What is it that you are leaving for? CAT Finance Director still at post despite end of appointment. Oh, really? Mr. Elvis Kusi, Director of Finance, Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. He's still at post, eh? All right. Government allocates 22 million Ghana cedis for Forts, Castles and rehabilitation. Forts and Castles rehabilitation, Scholarship Secretariat Registrar seeks Asante Hennes blessings and support. And detention of Wuntumi is an attack on Asantes. This is also coming from, some party faithfuls who feel this way. The Ghanaian publisher is the final newspaper, Posterity is watching Apenya marking to NDC. Minister extols bauxite company, assures them of government support. Mahama praises Sami Jemfi, and Kofi Aban faces contempt in a land case after being served with suits. All right, so this is all we have with regards to our newspapers. I've been joined this morning by Dr. Agyekum, who is representing the NPP this morning. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Roslyn.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. Coming from the hospital?
No, coming from home.
Coming from home?
Yes.
Are you going to the hospital from here?
No, please.
Oh, okay. Why?
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it later.
Sure.
Ish. On that note, so Dr. Agyekum is a very good friend and a doctor. I should be calling you or worrying you whenever I have medical needs.
Yeah, you are free to do so.
Any day, anytime.
The door is always open.
The door is always open. Fantastic. All right. He's here this morning not to talk about medical issues, but rather to talk about politics, current affairs. And so we are going to be delving into the fuel prices which have dropped. Let me give you, more information on the fuel price drop so far, and this is attributed to the appreciation of the Cedi, and of course looking at the fuel prices on the world market, oil price on the world market, which has also significantly dropped, is aiding it. But then we take a look at how it's dropped. So it says that this fuel price, the prices of petroleum products are dropping because of the appreciation of the Cedi against the dollar. According to the latest Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, that's COMAC, pricing outlook for the first pricing window of June 2025, fuel prices will fall heavily beginning June 1st, 2025. And we're already in the second day of June. Yesterday was the 1st of June. And it says that petrol is expected to go down between 3.6% and 7.8% per litre from the very 1st of June. We are in the 2nd of June. Now, this means that a litre of petrol could be sold for 12 Ghana cedis, 2 pesos or less. So the maximum should be 12 Ghana cedis, 2 pesos. It further says that, on the other hand, a diesel should go down by 4.2% to 7.8% per litre. Consequently, a litre would go for 12.90 or even lower than what the pricing outlook has projected. So this is for diesel. Now, for LPG is likely to be sold at 15 Ghana cedis per kilogram if the various oil marketing companies do adjust their prices by 6.3% per kilogram. All right, so this is it. Now, talking about it, we want to delve deeper into it. Isaac Ofieje will be joining us via Zoom pretty shortly to help us understand it better. But Doc is here, and Doc, this is happening under the NDC government. I know that, the NPP promised us that if they had come to power under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, would have seen these changes as well. Would it have been this significant?
Good morning once again, and good morning to the good people of Ghana who have taken time to join us this morning. So obviously, the algorithm or the equation that goes into determination of fuel prices hinges heavily on, one, the global price of crude oil, and two, the Cedi dollar discrepancy. So just as you said from your intro, the world market price is reduced, and we've seen relatively a better performing Cedi against the dollar, over a couple of weeks now. So yes, it's expected that the moment you have such, things dwindling and these factors coming on board, it's quite obvious we are going to see a decline in fuel prices. So it's expected. We just hope that, yes, we get value for money. What is due the Ghanaian is given to the Ghanaian, but it goes beyond the ordinary reduction in fuel prices, because fuel becomes the fulcrum around which every other indicator, revolves. You speak to market women why haven't you reduced your produce, and they will tell you, well, transportation fare. So definitely, the fuel pricing becomes, the major determinant of cost of goods and services in our country. So we need to go beyond the reduction to see the actual reduction transferring or having an effect positively in the lives of the people. And you made mention of what Dr. Bawumia mentioned vis-a-vis reduction of fuel if the NPP had won power. It goes beyond just the reduction. What the NPP and Dr. Bawumia was preaching was actually cost of living. And if you look at cost of living, especially people in urban areas, you speak of transportation fares, you talk of food, and then you talk of housing. So yes, that's why Dr. Bawumia and the NPP thought that yes, we could have the traditional way of making sure that we beat the dollar down. We could have the traditional way of making sure that we put things together to bring down fuel, but we need to go a step beyond that. That's why Dr. Bawumia and the NPP was preaching the idea of electronic buses, where electronic buses, as we know, would charge lesser than buses that depend on gasoline and diesel. So yes, what is important is that the Ghanaian would see the reflection of such reductions in our lives. It should be reflected much more in transport fares. It should be reflected much more in the cost of food items. It should be reflected in the much more anything that becomes easier for us to have our social lives ongoing. So I believe the conversation should be now tilted towards how the reduction can affect the everyday life of the Ghanaian. And I believe that's what
haven't they told us that it's going to affect the lives, but it's just going to take a while because as of now, you need to have a sustainable plan. So it's not just because we are seeing this reduction. Obviously, there are people, traders will tell you that I still have some goods that I purchased in December when the Cedi had depreciated so badly. And also somebody will tell you that, okay, we are still struggling with a few drivers who are being recalcitrant with regards to dropping down prices. They don't want to drop the prices. They are still standing their grounds. Just last week, there were some military men on the grounds to make sure that the prices of, transport fares had dropped. Now, talking about this, of course, we're going to see the reflection, but they've told us that it's not going to take immediate effect. We're going to see it probably in the next 6 months. That's when we'll feel it well.
So, yeah, obviously, if you're a business person, and as you rightly said, you had your products coming in before the turn of the year, clearly selling them at a lower prices will definitely incur some losses. That's why I'm saying that the conversation should be tilted towards how to make these things reflect in our everyday lives. Let's speak to the traders, let's speak to sellers, and to find a common ground, a win-win situation for the Ghanaian to fully benefit from these reductions. Yes, we talk of the drivers. Some people argue, rightly so, that the roads are not good. So yes, they will reduce their prices, but so of course they'll have to pay or make up for it elsewhere on the roads because the roads are spoiling the parts of their cars day in, day out. They'll go to Abosokan to go and get spare parts, and the prices of spare parts have not reduced either. So yes, it's a whole cocktail of events that looking at one leg to see a reduction in overall pricing would somehow not be the ideal situation. So we need to look at every aspect of pricing when it comes to goods and services. Yes, fuel is important, and everyone should pray and hope that this becomes sustainable for us to have more reduced means of buying fuel. But the cost of living of the Ghanaian goes beyond just fueling. We need to take a look at housing. How much are people housing if prices are, going to affect cost of building, how are we going to help house owners, apartment owners to determine prices that would have positive impacts on the lives of people? How is food going to be priced? Because yes, market women, day in, day out, make a strong argument that yes, we buy sometimes the food at a lower cost from the point of production. But in transporting the food items to our various markets, we face huge amounts of transport fares. So let's look at housing, let's look at transportation, and let's look at food, pricing as well, to let the Ghanaian have a feel of it. And that is where I believe we need to channel the conversation. Let's address the concerns of drivers. Are spare parts still expensive than usual? Let's talk about it. Let's see.
Well, somebody also made the argument that with regards to the spare parts, it's not like drivers are changing their spare parts every day. When they came out to say that, spare parts, because of spare parts, they don't see why they should reduce it, because if you go to Abosokai currently, the sellers there or the traders there are not really reducing their prices. And the argument came up, how many times do you actually change your spare parts as compared to the number of times you buy fuel in your car? If you take a look at that, you are actually doing it. Now, one thing again is that whenever fuel prices go up, drivers are not too quick to say, Abosokai, spare part dealers are not are increasing their spare part prices. They are quick to talk about the fuel and not the spare parts prices. So why is it that if we are seeing this significant change, they are now looking at their spare parts and not what the fuel pump says?
So it boils down to stakeholder engagements. It boils down to making sure that we don't just take decisions and expect people to follow. We need to have, some engagements with people, have engagement with importers, have engagement even with consumers, to find a win-win situation for everyone. I will not want to digress, but if you look at what is happening on the principal street of Accra, vis-a-vis AMA trying to get rid of people, and less than 24 hours, we could see people coming back on the street to come and sell. It clearly shows that stakeholder engagement was not properly done. We need to understand issues from people's perspective. From the perspective of city owners and authorities, they want to see our streets clean. From the perspective of consumers, it's about ease of accessing things that we need. From the perspective of sellers, it's about bread and butter issues. If you ask me to go home today, what am I going to depend on? If you ask me to go home today, my dependent would want me to come back from the market with something to feed my family. I have bills to pay, I have rent to pay, and all that. It clearly shows that stakeholder engagement was not properly done. It's the same idea here. We need to have a better stakeholder engagement. And I believe people are not quick to reduce their pricing because are we convinced that this trend of reduction is sustainable? What if we wake up from next week, from tomorrow, and we start seeing an upwards adjustment of the Cedi? Is that going to affect our current pricing? Is that going to affect how much we need to import goods and services into the country? So yet, it's about trust or belief in sustainability of the current trends. It's about what they had before the trends, the lower trends started. And it's about what they believe is going to be the situation in the nearest future. So yes, let's call for stakeholder engagement because yes, in the end, it's about seeing certain things reflecting in the lives of the Ghanaian. Without that, we are not making any headway. But of course, we'd all want a better condition. We'd all want a better environment where we can easily move, we can easily get items without necessarily too much strain on our pockets.
All right, talking about that, we have Agyekum-Obeng who has joined us, and he's a data analyst right here at Multimedia. Good morning, Kofi.
Good morning, Rosalind.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Fine, thank you. So there is this, argument out there that the fuel prices are dropping, but it's not sustainable. So some people are scared, talking about the drivers, the food traders, and all of that. They are still scared to reduce the prices of their goods, although they've been directed to do so. Not just that, but then again, since it's been attributed to the appreciation of the Cedi, again, people are saying that no, it's not really because of the appreciation of the Cedi, but rather oil prices on the market, general market, has dropped. And that is why we are seeing this drop in fuel prices. How true is this?
Well, I mean, for the first time, I think we have clarity on where the data set is heading towards in terms of fuel prices and then also Cedi appreciation. To the extent that Dr. Rivers Upon, who is the CEO of the oil marketing companies, their group, he is so confident that fuel prices were going to, if we should see the dollar going down, we should expect fuel prices to go down as well. And this morning, as I speak, we just checked the dollar rate and it's still below 11 Cedis. And the Association of Oil Marketing Companies are so sure that they have that clear path that if we should see the dollar come down, the fuel prices should also follow. One thing we know, or one correlation that we know, is that whenever fuel prices drop, whenever the dollar appreciates, fuel prices will drop, and then whenever the dollar depreciates, fuel prices will rise. But there are two things actually helping us to consolidate and have this clear path this time around. You have the Cedi, which is appreciating, and on the global oil space, where you have the price of crude oil per barrel not still around fair value. It's still selling around $64, $65 per barrel. It's the lowest we have seen in a long time, where 2, 3, or 4 years ago, we saw it around $120, $100 per barrel. And so there is that sort of breathing space for the bulk oil distributing companies, the BDCs, who are actually currently enjoying from two streams of favor, which is the fact that crude prices are dropping on the global space. The dollar also tumbling against, major trading currencies, especially the Cedi, and then the fact that we are actually seeing a very strong, currency in the last, 2 months, and so there is that sort of clear path for the OMCs who are saying that, look, when the dollar begins to go down heavily again, we should expect more, reduction at the pumps, and they have been very clear. The only uncertainty is the rippling effect where we have to see it in transport fares and all of that, where the last update we saw was 15%. But I can tell you that per the observations we are seeing, fuel prices have actually gone down this year by more than 5 times, or more than 4 times in the first 4 months, or in the first 5 months of the year. So one would expect that this should translate into transport fares, but as they always say, prices are always sticky downwards. And because of the uncertainty when it comes to we feeling the real impact, currently maybe motorists will feel the impact, but when it comes to passengers who will be waiting to see it at the bus terminal, they're already enjoying a 15%, and possibly, like Oliver Twist, who maybe would want more. But there is still that sort of uncertainty on the side of those economic agents who are still saying that, look, although the dollar has really come down, well, we've seen it before, so maybe it could go up. So why should we be in a rush to reduce our weight?
Right. Okay. So talking about that, then it brings us back to sustainability. Do you think, looking at the data that we have so far, the government can be able to sustain the Cedi appreciation?
Well, speaking from the angle of the governor, he said that, look, they have whatever it takes to keep the Cedi stable. Maybe not to appreciate, like the way we've seen in the last 2 months, but in terms of sustainability or consolidating the gains, the governor has said that, the Bank of Ghana can do it, and we shouldn't expect that kind of discrete, depreciation we saw in 2022 and 2023. But why do they say so? We've been trying to understand the kind of data pack they are using to, do some of its predictions, and it's publicly available. You can see that almost everything has improved, especially the confidence that even investors have in our economy, consumers as well. It will just take some time before it reflects. But I mean, the country is benefiting so much from gold exports to the extent that this is an economy that has actually moved away from its currency being backed by euro bonds to a country where its currency is now being backed by gold reserves. Inflow. So, I mean, based on some of these, improved indicators, you can always have the central bank with such confidence saying that, look, you don't have to worry, we have all it takes to give you sustainability. But where we are looking at in terms of the direction we are looking at, things still look very positive for the government, especially on the export side where they are getting more inflow. It's coming in strongly. Gold exports, where we've been able to close the gap, possibly through the Gold Board initiative. We are still trying to get more data to understand what is going on in the Gold Board space. But you can actually, have the feeling that both the president, the finance minister, and the governor are all on the same path where they believe in this Gold Board initiative. It is the initiative that government is banging its hopes on. But this is also a commodity. Gold is a commodity. Now it is selling very high, and so government can cash out or cash in. But what happens if world prices begins to drop? This will not be the first time gold price has gone up and has decided to drop again. So it'll be interesting to see how government will use domestic factors to consolidate the gains of the Cedi when that commodity that we are backing our currency with right now, feels on the global market.
Right. All right, Kofi, I'll come back to you and have more conversations with you. Let me come to the studio. Ezekiel, so there's hope.
Yeah, obviously, that's what everyone expects and that's what everyone wants. But if you look at what has transpired during the course of the year, the Ghanaian has not really benefited. Because from the beginning of the year, we saw 20% increment in transportation fares, and recently 15%. If you do the calculation, the net effect is that comparing the Ghanaian in terms of expenditure, how much we spend on transportation fares, dollar has reduced as against the Cedi, depreciated, and the Cedi has gained strength. Now we are seeing some downward trends in terms of fuel pricing. But the net effect on transportation has not benefited the Ghanaian. Because if I was paying 2 Cedi for a journey and you increase it by 20%, that's some 40 pesos added to my 2 Cedi, so 2.4 Cedis. And then there's a reduction of 15%. That reduction of 15% does not even take me back to my 2 Cedi I was paying. So is the Ghanaian benefiting from the reduction in fuel pricing over the course of time? Is the Ghanaian benefiting from the dollar that depreciating against the Cedi? No. So in the end, the optics, we might say, looks good. But the reflection in the lives of the Ghanaian is not there. Because yes, you can choose any amount you started with from the beginning of the year. If you do the 20% increment calculation and then you go back to do the 15% of that increment and how much you are paying for transport fares, you realize that you are still paying more compared to last year or December or from the beginning of the year, January. Yes, at the same time, we say dollar has depreciated. At the same time, we say fuel pricing is going down. So yes, we can throw the values around. We can have the situation where, from what we are seeing today, but the reflection in the lives of the Ghanaian has not matched up to the positives we seem to see.
Right. What percentage of reduction would have been best? Because as it stands now, we still have some drivers who are even fighting the 15% reduction. They feel it's too much.
Yes.
And so if you're saying that we are not seeing it in the reflection of the Ghanaian people, even the 15% suggested by the government, some of the drivers say that it's going to cost to them. And this is where they bring in this whole issue of the spare parts and all of that. Now, we are saying that it's not being reflected because the 15%, taking a look at it and comparing it to the 20% increment, the drivers are even benefiting, but they are not saying so. What percentage would have been better?
Anything from 17 to 20% would have at least, reduced the pricing compared to what we started the year with. But staying at 15%, with all that we've seen, the Ghanaian is not benefiting.
Once we then see the drivers also saying that, the government is not taking them into consideration.
That's why I'm saying that we need to have a 360 look at the situation. Because they are still making references to spare parts. They are still making references to poor roads. And yes, they don't change their parts frequently as much as compared to how much they take from us on our daily journeys with them. But they are also making projections. Should I ply the road and my hub, my whatever, get spots, and I have to go back to Abosokan to go and get a part to replace? How much do I need to cough to make sure that the parts I replace with is, helping my balancing of my sheet? And should I go and do, monthly or 3 monthly maintenance? How much am I going to spend? Is the pricing of maintaining your car, let's say every 3 months or after every amount of distance you've covered, compared to before the reduction started? Am I paying the same amount? Is it gone up? Is it reduced? So all these things come together. The fueling aspect is a major key in terms of pricing, but of course, it is not the overall determinant of what goes into the operations of drivers. So we can mention the other things, of course, they need to, grapple with. But in the end, the take home is that once the Ghanaian is not benefiting or seeing an actual influence in their pockets from these reductions, it's a cost-90 job. So we need to move beyond the ordinary reduction in dollar, the ordinary reduction in fuel pricing, to letting the Ghanaian have a few of those reductions. But as it stands, comparing your 20% increment and the 15% increment, the net effect is that the Ghanaian is still paying more for transportation compared to before the reductions.
Okay, Kofi, is this really so? What Dr. Agyekum is saying?
Well, firstly, he said a number of things, but definitely every economic agent will want to see profits, and then every economic agent also wants to see relief. And just like I said, the market women who sell in our markets, our mothers who are in our markets, they also have their own data, and they also have a way of gauging their own uncertainty. So, until things work for them, they will decide to behave in a certain way or to a certain tangent. But the most important thing we need to put across is that things look positive now in terms of the forex inflows that the country was really struggling to get. Remember that it was as a result of that we went to the IMF for that $3 billion bailout package, because our balance of payments wasn't looking good. All of those things have been improved, but there is that lagging effect. And in an unstructured economy like Ghana, you definitely should be expecting some of these things where, sometimes it will take at least 3 months for you to feel an impact of something very simple that you're supposed to feel the impact immediately. It's not like the developed economies where something happens in a data pack and then you see it happen in the real economy in real time. Ours isn't the same.
Right.
Formal, things around the economies, so many aspects of our economy still remain unstructured. So it makes it very, very difficult to practice some of these economics, and then sometimes even gauge the real impact of some of these economic indicators. But I still hold the view that it's just a matter of time. And because of the uncertainties that these market women and economic agents have, they will always want to wait for a certain period. And then when prices inch up marginally, they will say, oh, we told you. So we will decide to stay where we are. But, one government is so, particular about consolidating this. I have a feeling that maybe by the end of June, things still remain very positive. Majority of the traders we have will toe the line.
All right. So, Doc actually mentioned, you did mention that, as much as we are seeing the fuel reduction, we are not, most people are not really going to benefit like that. Is that what you said?
Generally prices, let's be fair with issues. We are not going to use a political lens to...
So who is going to benefit?
So at a stance, the important person in this equation is the ordinary Ghanaian.
Yes, I understand.
And that should be our focus.
I understand, but I'm just asking, like a layman who is watching us right now, maybe I see fuel prices have dropped. I'm so excited about it. And I know that things are going to get better. And then I hear on TV this morning that, listen, as you see it on there and you think it's going to be good, you might not necessarily benefit. And so I ask the question, so who is going to benefit?
If you had your own means of transportation, if you had your own car you were driving, obviously, you see the direct impact.
Okay.
But how many Ghanaians are having their own means of transportation? So, yes, the population, we are told, about 80% of Ghanaians are not rich. So then we can do the extrapolation to say that about the 20% that are rich, in quotes, or have some financial cushioning are the ones having their own private vehicles. So if you had your own private vehicle, you move to the pump today and there's reduction, you are having a direct benefit.
Okay.
But the majority that need to depend on commercial vehicles as it stands have not benefited from any of the reductions that have taken place. We are looking at the
middle class and the upper class,
and the upper class,
the ones
benefiting. But the larger pool of the lower class, which constitute about 80% of our population, have not seen any benefit whatsoever when it comes to at least fuel price reduction from January to now, compared to how much they were paying for means of access to transportation as of December.
But we do agree with the government that, you know, we are going to see some sort of benefit gradually, probably in the next 6 months. It's going to be that, you know.
So, yes, that's what I'm saying, that we need to go beyond the rhetorics, and we need to go beyond the optics. That, yes, we are seeing reductions. They are good indicators. I mean, I won't take that away from anyone. They are good indicators. When the positives come on board, it comes to affect and benefit the entire Ghanaian in general. But the argument has to be made. Right. That how much you were paying for fuel from the beginning of the year, how much you were paying for transport, if you join commercial transport, how much you were paying. Even with the reduction we saw in our last week, you still are paying more than you started the year with. Okay. So yes, the actual crystallization of the reduction in fuel prices we've seen for the period we've enjoyed so far, the ordinary Ghanaian has not benefited whatsoever, especially when it comes to transport fares. Okay, so this is coming from Dr. Agyekum, who's speaking on behalf of the NPP. We've also been joined by Honorable Atta Issa, who is a member of Parliament for Sagna Rigu on behalf of the NDC, and he's also a part of the Finance Committee. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Thank you, I'm fine.
And I'm glad that you made time, because you're part of the Finance Committee, and talking about the Cedi's appreciation, people are commending the NDC government for what you're doing so far.
Yes, I think, let me say good morning to our viewers across the country and to my brother. It's a good news for any emerging economy to have your currency stabilized. At least it affords everybody the opportunity to plan. If you look at where we came from, that is at the beginning of this year, the currency was doing at 15.9 to 16 to a dollar, but now hovering around about 10.94 as of this morning. So it makes it easier for businesses to plan, and it also has a general impact on the livelihoods of our people. And I would say that my brother is making a very sweeping and general statement as to when they say people are not benefiting from the reduction in fuel prices as a result of the stability. That's a very general and simple analysis that he has done. Because if you do lack effects of any policy, it is not always immediate. Because, for example, businesses had hedged the Cedi against the dollar at a particular point in importing. So if those imports that they brought in is not completed, you cannot reflect your prices in the current price. That is simple lag and lock effects. Okay. And number two is that it is also not correct to say that the average Ghanaian is not enjoying it. I have constituents from Tamale coming to Accra at a reduced fare.
Well, the point that he's making is not that it's not been reduced at all. He said that if we take a look at the increments that happened in the beginning of the year, which was a 20% increment, and now that we are seeing the Cedi appreciate so much, we should have seen probably, a 30%.
That's what I'm saying, that to make that argument, will not be too accurate and will be very, very simplistic. That's not how things work, policies work.
Okay.
There's no policy whose lag effect is just 1 week. It doesn't happen like that.
Right.
If you know the transmission mechanism of how policy works, it is not something that you just get the result today. Number two, what type of benefit are we talking about? We've seen a 15% reduction in transport prices. And I am telling you on authority, my constituents are getting the reduction when they are leaving Tamale to Accra. So when you tell them that that is not the sort of benefit they were expecting, I think they will disagree with you. Look, there's a level at which we can do our politics always against what government stands for when you are in opposition and vice versa. But the truth of the matter is that we should be proud as a country at that level of performance that we are seeing of our currency against major trading currencies. It's not only against the dollar. However reasons that you may ascribe to that, but we must pat ourselves in the back to say that for the first time in a long time, we'll see this consistent appreciation of our currency against major trading currencies.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Right. But you see, the concern again is, again, I want to use a logic way. What he said is the logic way. I want us to divide ourselves from politics.
Exactly.
Okay. So I see a 20% increment.
Yes.
Right. And then all of a sudden there's a 15% decrement. Now, it doesn't take me to that price that, before the 20% increment came in.
So, this is also a very wrong analysis.
Okay.
In the sense that the price reduction has been consistent in the last 4 windows. That's why you are getting it wrong.
There's been price reduction in the last 4 windows.
Consistent in the last 4 windows.
Okay.
So to just assume 15%.
Which of the windows are we talking about?
The 15% you are seeing,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's referring to the reduction that happened in the transport prices,
Yes.
or which one?
Yes, the transport
And I'm
prices
saying that
last week.
the magnitude or the nominal figures of the two of them are not equal. They are not equal. So, for example, 15% of 2 cities is different from 15% of 20 cities or 10 cities. So to just make a very simplistic argument that we saw an increase of 20% and now a reduction of 15%, what about a situation where if it has remained the same, what would have been the impact?
Oh, no, so the percentage is what we are looking at, not the figures, the 20 cities or the
My point
5
is,
cities.
if it had remained the same without even any decrease, Ghanaians would have been suffering, isn't it? So that's what I'm saying, that yes, we are not...
But it can't remain the same if the city is appreciating.
That's what I'm saying, that we will get a full benefit as the time goes by, because effects of policies or effects of economic outcomes are not immediately felt. It takes time in the transmission mechanism to get to the last person. But the good news, I am confident, is that if you look at the release by NPP, we're even expecting more reduction in June, because this is one of the transparent, perfect market economies in terms of pricing of fuel, because it's a very transparent way. You can easily tell what the price will be in the future. So NPA is assuring Ghanaians that we'll see even more decrease in June.
Amazing. Now, seeing this decrease is what we all love. We've seen the CD appreciate. We are so happy about it. We are seeing fuel prices drop. We're so happy about it. What about transport fares? What about cost of living? This is where the issue is. Because if I go to the fuel pump right now, I'm buying it at 12 cedis, 2 pesos, which I'm excited about it, okay?
Yes.
But my landlord might not be reducing my rent. I'm sitting in Trotro this morning and I'm paying 20 cedis, and I'm saying to myself, but it's supposed to have reduced. So the question is, when are we going to see a significant drop?
No, so you see...
Yeah, it's just a question,
yes.
though. Yeah.
You see, it is important. The purpose of this question is to explain to the ordinary Ghanaian, not for you.
Yes.
Number two is also that, yes, we expected more than what we saw in terms of the transport prices, but you also appreciate that these are stakeholders government cannot... We are above the era of price controls, where government can just come through a policy fiat to say that let's fix poor prices at this. This is a very deregulated industry where it's the demand and supply forces that influence the pricing. In fact, the only instance where government comes in is a situation where the tax handles or direct government policies that they can alter. Aside that, it is a pure demand and supply function that resonates or that results into the price. So you do it in collaboration with the stakeholders. If you know the 15%, it was consistent calls from opposition, government, key functionaries of the government, and even the ordinary Ghanaian. Looking at the appreciation we are seeing in the Cedi against the major trading currencies, there were calls for this reduction.
Right.
And you know, it was painfully taken by the transport unions. They were not even willing in the first place to reduce. And when they finally reduced the 15%, some members of the GPRTU were still charging the rates at which it was before the reduction. So you saw that GPRTU were calming the nerves of their operators and the customers, telling them that it will reflect the prices. So for me, it will take more of collaboration than a fiat from the government. So let's pray that the sustained reduction we are seeing, and you know, people too are not quick to follow this decline.
Yeah.
And the reason is because this sector is regulated by more speculation and uncertainties. What is even driving some of this reduction is that supply chain disruption by Donald Trump and other related factors in OPEC countries. So it is not something, as a juniors, you cannot just control it like you say that, oh, it is my policy alone that is resulting into this. Because of that, companies or industries are very careful in following the government in this direction. It will take time for them to see some level of consistency in the fall, then they will know this is in for good.
So we do agree that this is not solely the Cedi appreciation.
No, it's not only solely the Cedi appreciation. If I give you the reasons, in fact, recently, there's increased demand, supply of crude from Venezuela, from Kyrgyzstan, and all those other countries. So much increase. And I'm saying that it's a demand and supply function. Once there's increased supply, even if the demand is constant or increased marginally, you will still see price coming down. So it is not only the Cedi. There are other factors that also...
So then the NDC government can take credit for it, right?
I am not sure this discussion is about...
I'm just saying.
Yes. Well, NDC can take part of the credit.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much. We are, yes.
Roslyn, I think what maybe Honorable was not here when we started. And what I have done on this platform is to discuss the issues without politics.
Yes.
I've been fair to the issues. And I'm sure if there's any ardent NPP person listening to me, might not be too happy that I'm being, you know, non-partisan or non-political.
I think this morning the conversation hasn't been political at all, which is good.
It's Honorable is on the finance committee. I'm happy it's on the finance committee.
Yeah.
The NDC keep throwing figures around. The dollar, as you came to meet it, the daily updates we get is from Bank of Ghana. Except you don't trust Bank of Ghana. What Bank of Ghana put out on the 6th of January, it's not the 15 to 16 you are mentioning. Bank of Ghana figures, what they churn out or what they put out in public for us to consume is that the dollar was trading at 14.7 cedis.
No.
Per Bank of Ghana on the 6th of January, the day before handing over.
Do you have...
I deliberately downloaded that particular artwork they brought. It's something I've had, not just because of today's show, but I've had it. What they put out on the 6th of January is that the Cedi, the dollar was trading at 14.725. I'll search for it for you. 14.725.
I will need proof to it.
And even your producers can even get.
Yeah, I was going to try and get it. Please help me get it, because I was going to try to get it here.
Okay, this is it.
Okay.
It was 14.725 or so cedis. It was not 15. It was not 15 point any figure.
Okay, so on the please let me read it for viewers out there. This daily exchange coming from Bank of Ghana, and it says that Monday, 6th of January 2025, US dollar buying 14 cedis 74.26 pesos, and is selling at 14 cedis 7574 pesos.
Exactly. So if you have the NDC coming on, it's coming from the Bank of Ghana. It's not coming from me.
You don't understand this. This is an interbank rate given to commercial banks.
So which one are you quoting?
No, it's the forex market.
Which one are you quoting?
No, please, let's...
Which one are you quoting?
No.
Which one are you quoting?
No.
Secondly,
let me bring
you are not educating people here. No.
Let me ask Kofi this question.
That's not the meaning of what you are giving to it.
Will you come back?
Oh, definitely. No, the two of you. I'll come to you. Okay. Kofi, data analyst. Yes, please clarify it for us. In January, as of January 6th, 2025, that was when the day before the current government was sworn in. What was the rate?
Well, the rate was below 15 cedis.
Okay, it was below 15 cedis. And this is from Bank of Ghana.
Yes.
On the general market, what was the rate, the forex market? Do you have any idea?
Well, so usually the variance is usually around 50 pesos to 85 pesos. And so if you do the math, that should be around, let's say, 15 cedis, 20 pesos, or 15 cedis, 30 pesos.
Okay.
But if you look at the summary data, it puts end of December at 14 cedis, 70 pesos.
Okay.
And then January around 15 cedis. And so, yes, I mean, there were a lot of fluctuations in January, especially right after the elections and, you know, some few days to the swearing in. There were a lot of fluctuations where the city went up at a point and came down significantly also at a point, yes.
Okay, so if we take a look at what both gentlemen are saying, some way, somehow, they are both right. Because Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ezekiel Agyekum is quoting the Bank of Ghana rate, which is 14.7, or let's round it up and say 14.8. And Honorable Atta is also quoting the Forex market, right? And that was 15 points.
15 to 16, and that's way too high.
That's high.
How?
So let's say 15.
No,
let's say, okay, it was
I still
15
maintain that
it was 15 points.
the interbank, you see, you don't quote the interbank rate because you are not a commercial bank. What you do is the rate at which you buy it as a Ghanaian.
Just getting it clarity. I'm getting clarity.
In other words,
wait, I'm getting it from our data analyst.
What Bank of Ghana will put out today to be the dollar rate, we should discard it.
No, wait. Please, let me get it from my data analyst.
No, discard it.
Gentlemen, don't worry.
I don't think you should do this type of...
No, let me get it. Please, let me get it from my data analyst.
Certain words.
Yes.
There's certain words on the platform.
Coffee, please help us. We need clarity on it.
I have not used
So, in January...
So the goal of content is still state of January, right?
Yes.
No.
Wait.
Hello.
Yes.
January.
Let's use 6th January. Let's just go fair on 6th of January.
Okay. 6th January. Let me get a commercial rate.
Okay.
And then let's see where it was.
Okay, that'll be good. So we get the commercial rate. Then we have the Bank of Ghana rate already.
Yes. So the commercial rate was still around 14 to 72 pesos.
Okay, that's commercial rate.
Yeah, that is from Bloomberg, commercial rate.
14.70.
72.
72.
So it was at par with what Bank of Ghana was quoting.
Okay, so we could go to Bank of Ghana, but how is this possible though? How is Bank of Ghana's quote the same as commercial quote?
Well, so there are times where you see a big variance between the interbank rate and the commercial rate. But when there is that sort of confidence and the city is expected to act, usually we don't see the variance between what the market and then what Ghana is to quote. So if you check from January to ending of May, we've seen very small variance between what happened on the commercial market, let's say the Bloomberg and Co. quote, versus what the Bank of Ghana was to put up. In so many instances, we've seen an equal exchange rate where Bloomberg quotes 14 to 70 pesos or 12 to 60 pesos, and Bank of Ghana will quote the same way. Sometimes we have the Bank of Ghana rate being below slightly, marginally, sometimes around even 20 pesos or not even 20, below 10 pesos. So it has a juncture where when you have appreciation, usually you see the Bank of Ghana towing the line of the commercial market. But when we begin to see depreciation, that is when usually the Bank of Ghana will quote a lower interbank rate, and then you see the commercial rate above a certain level.
All right, okay, makes a lot of sense.
I can confirm that the commercial rate has been put up by Bloomberg, another trusted currency platform, was around 14 to 72 pesos on January 6th.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I mean, the rather poor analysis.
I'll let you come in. I'll let you come in.
The rather poor analysis my brother says I'm doing is not what I'm doing. I mean, I thought you could run it up. We all did mathematics in school, run it up to a round figure. And you could mention 15, it will suffice. But to go, come and churn out his figures that the dollar was trading at 15 to 16 cedis, it is not accurate.
Okay.
And I'm not basing it, I'm not cooking figures in the NPP headquarters, I'm not kicking figures on this platform. It is what the data and the facts represent.
Okay.
And on the issue of Honorable saying that his constituents are happy about a reduction, rather the poor analysis is not what I'm doing. It's what we are not telling his constituents. And I didn't use the nominal 15%, 20% increment to say that in one leg, it was 20% and the reduction is 15. That would be poor mathematics to do. If nothing at all, mathematics was my strength when I was in school.
Yeah,
I'm saying that
we understand.
If you took 2 Cedi to be the cost of your journey at the beginning of the year, the increment was 20%. And that will give you 40 pesos increment. So you now 2 Cedi 40 pesos.
Okay.
That's the analysis we are doing.
Okay.
If you take 15% of that 2 Cedi 40 pesos and you subtract it from the 2 Cedi 40 pesos, you will still get a figure which is above 2 Cedis. It's not the nominal 15, 20% argument I'm doing here. So the net effect, and I use those words, the net effect is that if you do the mathematics, you are still paying more than you started with.
Okay.
And we all believe that certain goods will take time, and I admitted it here. If someone imported a car and cleared it around January or February, and the car is not sold up to this point, the person bought the car at a higher price, the person shipped the car at a higher price, and the person paid an import duty at a higher price. So if you see recent reduction, and you expect the person to reduce how much he or she is selling the car for, definitely it is going to be a problem. So we know certain goods and services, we will not see the effect immediately. But something like the transport fares that we say we've had reductions, I'm saying that let's go back. And let's look at how much we were paying from the beginning of the year, and let's see how much we are paying today, and do the net analysis. And the net analysis is that the Ghanaian, in terms of transport fare, is paying more than he or she started the year with. But those buying directly from the pumps, if you had a private car, you would see some benefits from the reduction. That is the point.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll read a few comments and then I'll bring you in, Honorable. Good morning, Nancy Rose. My greetings to you and Honorable Atta. Ken Ofori-Atta can run as far as he can, but he can never escape from facing the law. So he should bring himself before we put him on a red flag again. Anyway, I admire Honorable Atta's presentation. This young man speaks with facts and confidence. May Allah protect him. All right. Musa Abatuaina Sawase says the recent reduction in fuel prices is a welcome relief and a clear sign that we now have a government that genuinely cares about the plight of ordinary Ghanaians. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama continues to demonstrate true leadership, one that prioritizes building the capacity of the people and driving sustainable national development. This is the kind of leadership Ghana needs. We gave NDC MPs over 180 seats in Parliament, yet the chamber is always empty. Why? We didn't vote for NDC to sit at home. Patrick from Accra. Good morning, Joy Prime. The refusal of the drivers and other dealers in the country who refuse to reduce should tell you how our country is full of party politicians. All right. Good morning to you. Accountability and transparency are essential components of good governance that can lead to increased trust, participation, and ultimately better outcomes for citizens. By placing a premium on these principles, the current political administration can ensure that proper governance prevails and that the needs of its citizens are effectively met. Aaron Bebako Kokomisa. Hassan Cisse from Zenu Central says, good morning to everyone. Ken Ofori-Atta cannot hide behind sickness to evade accountability at all. The OSP should make sure he declare him wanted again, because we Ghanaians need him to come and account for his stewardship and how come he used our $58 million in digging the largest hole in the middle of Accra. Good morning, I'm Eben from Kabenya. Today is my 2nd June, so the Ken Ofori-Atta should come and account for his deeds, period. Accountability is required for everyone, required of everyone for his or her deeds. So Ken has nothing to hide. I don't think he should be somewhere regards to Ajia Hawa of GRA. Good morning, Sister Roslyn. Just forget about whatever Dr. Baumia said during the heat of the campaign. He said more than that in 2015, but about how Ghanaians was going to develop if NPP were given the opportunity to govern, but the opposite happened. I can tell you that if the NPP had won the election in 2024, the cedi would have been 20 cedis to the dollar. I believe it's a new lucrative business avenue for the managers of the economy at the time. Prof. from Bono. Dear Roslyn, There are interesting times in Ghana. So Ken Ofori-Atta has the guts to dictate to the OSP after plundering and pillaging the country's resources. I think the OSP is treating Ken Ofori-Atta with kids' gloves, and it's nauseating indeed. I am happy Wontumi is now facing the music according to the law. No matter the number of demonstrations the NPP will organize, it will not change anything now that Gertrude Tokono is de facto removed. All the NPP criminals will face justice. On Galamsey fight, I urge His Excellency John Mahama should declare a state of emergency on Galamsey in forest reserves and water bodies as he demanded from Akufo-Addo when in opposition. I don't like the double standards being played by Mahama's government in the fight against Galamsey, but the Mahama-led government is doing well by all standards. Good morning, dear. Charles Echampo. All right, Charles, I like this one. You're speaking like a Ghanaian, not any political colors here. Good morning, Roslyn. The NPP had 8 years to bring down the dollar and fuel prices. So I think the NPP man is not being straight with Ghanaians. The dollar would be up and going up if NPP had won the elections. The NPP spokesperson is also in a subtle way telling people not to reduce prices. If all politicians join the call for reduction of prices, that will happen. I think NPP should put politics aside and help the people of Ghana for once. Well, I think that he is doing that. He just saying that we need to see more reflection of that. So he's not saying that, people should not reduce their prices. No, he's actually saying that we just need to feel it more, because it looks as though as we are seeing it, we are not feeling it. And this is where Honorable Atta says that we'll feel it. It will take a bit of time, but we'll feel it. So we should just exercise patience, right, Honorable Atta?
Yes.
Great. Good morning, Roslyn. You're looking beautiful this morning. Thank you very much. Ghanaians are celebrating the recent fuel price reduction and the appreciation of the city. However, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Prices of goods, including tomatoes and plantains, remain high. I personally experienced this when I went to the market on Saturday with 500 Ghana cedis and could only afford 5 items. For the citizens to truly benefit, the economic gains must translate to lower prices and increased purchasing power. Brookman Anobil, and I think this is what Dr. Ezekiel was speaking about. Good morning, Madam Roslyn, and your panelists. I am Big Alaska from Garu Tempane, and my greetings to the youth of Tempane constituency. NPP should not even make an argument about reduction of commodities in this early stage. They left the city at 17 Ghana cedis, and now it's 10 Ghana cedis. Well, we've gotten clarity on it. When they were leaving power, it wasn't 17.
We will still contest that.
We'll contest it. Okay, so Honorable Atta says he's going to contest that one. So let me just read this one then. Soon, reduction of commodities is underway. Abam Papaba, West Ken Ofori-Atta, who promised reporting to OSP in June, they should not go and sit down and protest when he's arrested. Good morning. The NDC man in your studio has won my respect this morning. He has been fairly objective to the issue for the first time in the history of NDC communications, even though there was a slight propaganda in there as usual. Kudos to Doc for an excellent presentation this morning. Amino is a woman. Good morning, Roslyn. The news of fuel prices dropping further is welcoming news, but we are hoping to see it replicate the effects of for most people. You see, traders are always quick to increase prices when the fuel prices increase, and they are very slow to reduce it when it's reduced. Some traders attribute their slow in reducing prices to lack of sustainability on reduction of fuel or appreciation of the cedi. If the cedi appreciation and fuel prices are sustainable in the next 5 to 6 months, then many will start to feel the reduction in our lives. My regards to Doctor, the NPP man. He tried not to be political. I love how he has set the facts on the exchange rate. The NDC keeps telling lies that the NPP left the cedi to dollar at 60. Well, Nanton do. So Honorable Atta is going to clear that one. So just relax on it. He's going to tell us what he meant by it. Good morning, everyone. The arrest of Chairman Wontumi by Agyekum is nothing but a cover-up of our over $20 million the vice president used for his private jet, and the weak government, which appointed a scammer into a very important, but this is not our topic for this morning. Is it that some people, when we have our topic, you don't want to talk about it? Indeed, the city is appreciating. But why is it not reflected in our pockets? Electricity bill is going up, water bill is up. Some goods like cement prices currently 150 Ghana cedis. So what is the significance of this cedi appreciation? It took only Ghana that it takes only Ghana that you see fake certificates clarifying to be given appointments, and none of the media houses are taking this as seriously. It has given the country a bad name as this issue came up about the physician. Okay, but this is not my topic for this morning, my darling. Sami Boache, stick to my topic for me. Thank you so much. You can keep your messages coming in and we'll read them. Honorable Atta, you wanted to speak to it and then I move on to my next topic, please.
Yes. My issue was that there is a difference between the interbank rate and the commercial rate. And you're at your studio, I don't know, who did you call earlier?
We called the data. He's still on, the data analyst. He's a data analyst.
So, no problem. So, quoting Bloomberg does not reflect the commercial rates in Ghana. Bloomberg takes the official exchange from the BOG. They're selling a buy rate at BOG.
Okay.
The second issue is that, look, I personally, and I'm sure if you can open the phone lines to every business person and every Ghanaian who did trade in Ghana on 6th January, it was not below 15 Ghana cedis.
Okay, so this is modern Ghana. Honorable Atta is also bringing his proof.
I am telling you on authority, call anybody onto the studio, call people. Ghanaians are watching us.
Honorable Atta, let me read what you've given to me, okay? Modern Ghana says that this is on the January 6th, cedi trades at 15.85 Ghana cedis to $1 at Forex bureaus and 14.72 on BOG Interbank. And this is from Modern Ghana.
Let me even provide further information. When the Bank of Ghana in April pumped in about $490 million in April, it went down from 15.3 to 14.91. Overnight reduction. I am telling you the fact that call Ghanaians watching us today. People can send messages. Any Ghanaian who bought the dollar on 6th January at below 15 Ghana cedis should call and tell us. We all deal with businesses. We all have things we do. I am telling you that, yes, interbank rate, that is why I didn't quote any interbank rate, because the interbank rate, every bank and its risk mitigation capacity that it can take in order to, because sometimes as a bank, when you also pick it, you want to add margins and you want to make sure that you remain consistent so that you don't get losses, exchange losses. So the interbank rates and the commercial rates are not the same. Number two, even among commercial banks, they don't charge the same. In fact, between commercial bank rate and even the forex market rate is also sometimes different. Okay. So yes, interbank rate, I can say it is less than 15. But I, as a Ghanaian, a business person, bought the dollar on 6th January at about 15 Ghana cedis. 15 Ghana cedis, 80%, that's what it says. That is, yes, that is me. Look, even in April, I can show you receipts. Okay. We bought dollars at 15.7 in April, beginning of April.
So basically, Rosalind, what Honorable is telling Ghanaians is that whatever BOG puts out, if you go on the internet today, and BOG says that the dollar is 8 cedis. Don't take
No, that's not what he said.
Come on, BOG. No. Come on.
That is the rate they give to their banks.
Ezekiel, let's educate people well. So what
Honorable is saying is that...
No, what we all know is
I heard him claim.
Anybody who...
If I will finish, you understand what I'm saying?
Please make your point.
I heard Honorable clearly that what BOG puts out is interbank rate, which even varies...
But everybody knows that.
Exactly. Which even varies according to the bank's ability to mitigate risk.
Everybody knows that.
But as a Ghanaian, he used those words, as a Ghanaian, and someone who does something little in terms of business, it is not about what BOG puts out, which is the interbank rate. So I'm saying that, I'm just saying whatever he has said in a different language. You are concluding for me.
I think
if you go, it's just fair. No. If you go, if you see anything, Bank of Ghana has put out today, and Bank of Ghana says that the dollar is trading at 10 Cedi today. Look beyond that.
No,
because
of course.
the actual dollar is what you would pay if you were to buy something from outside, or what you pay if you are to send something from Ghana.
That is the actual.
It's not the reality. So then
we all agree that that's
exactly. So that's what I'm saying, that whatever anyone sees on any platform emanating from Bank of Ghana, per honorable submission, don't take that to be the actual situation.
I was very categorical. I said the interbank rate is given to commercial banks.
Do not take. I'm just paraphrasing what he said.
I'm just
don't paraphrase. Do not take what BOG puts out.
No.
Because the reality on the ground reflects something different.
No, let's not play this game.
Reflects something different.
Let's not play.
It reflects something different.
We have
something different.
Who are watching.
You know it for a fact. You know it for a fact.
Everybody knows that. Bank of Ghana has the rate. However, when
Abuchi
you go
has
to
the dollar.
no,
I didn't mention Abuchi.
We didn't mention Abuchi. When you go to the forex market, it's usually a certain percentage or a certain amount. And like Kofi is there, right? Kofi, are you still there? Oh, unfortunately, okay. So Kofi even said earlier that sometimes it's between 50% to 70% that they add towards, and they sell it for their own profit gains. So, you know, currently, even if you go to the bank, you can't just walk in and change money.
You can't.
You need your visa and your
expenditure invoices.
So we are all saying the same thing.
No, but you see, the way you're saying it,
you are making motive about my point.
We are saying the same thing.
Even in your regime.
We are saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing.
This has been the norm.
Yes, this is the norm, including today. That's what BOG puts out.
Is the interbank rate.
What is on the ground?
It is on the...
So what BOG tells you today, if you Google, or BOG tells you that dollar is 10 Cedi today, don't take BOG's words. Because on the ground...
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What the BOG does, you know, ordinarily, there's always excessive demand over the dollar against the supply. So Bank of Ghana gives it as a hedge rate for BDCs. So they can pledge it at 12 point something or even 13 point something. So it is for the BDCs to take and the commercial banks. And I'm telling you that the commercial rate of Ghana is always different from the interbank rate, because the interbank rate is not for day-to-day activities.
Right.
That is all I'm telling you.
Anyway, let's move on to our next. Let's move on. No, he didn't say that. Ezekiel. Oh my goodness.
Because we will pay more for it.
Ezekiel.
In real life.
This is why you're being diabopa.
Yes.
You are really being diabopa on this one. Anyway, let's move on to our next conversation, which happens to be the Office of the Special Prosecutor saying that, you know, Ken Ofori-Atta could face Interpol red notice if he defies the deadline. Let's not forget that the deadline that has been given is actually supposed to be yesterday. That's the 1st of June. But yesterday, since yesterday is a Sunday, it was extended to today. Now, if he doesn't show up or they have a conversation, what is going to happen is that he will be declared as a fugitive, and also he will be reported to Interpol to be expedited back to the country so that he can face the consequences. Now, we want to take a look at some of the things that he could face. So I just want you to know. So the key issues under investigations, these are the key issues. Petroleum and Minerals Revenue Assurance. We have contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization, Ghana Limited, and the GRA. They are investigating that. Also, they are investigating electricity company contract termination, where the termination of a contract between ECG and Beijing Xiaocheng Technology. Also, the National Cathedral Project, procurement procedures and financial transactions related to the National Cathedral, ambulance procurement, a Ministry of Health contracts with Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchasing and maintaining 307 ambulances, GRA Tax P Fund Management, handling and disbursement of funds from the Tax P Fund account of the GRA. Now, we take a look at the timeline of events as well. Now, in January 2025, the OSP officially notified Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta that he was a suspect in 5 separate cases and asked him to appear in person on 10th of February 2025. On the 31st of January 2025, his lawyers, that's Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers informed the Office of the Special Prosecutor that he was abroad indefinitely for medical reasons and offered to represent him in his absence. 5th of February, which is my birthday, the OSP rejected the claim of indefinite absence and demanded a firm return date by 10th of February 2025, warning of legal consequences for failure to comply. Now, on the 10th of February, his lawyers submitted a doctor's note, not addressed to anyone specific, stating he was undergoing tests and possibly surgery with no clear return date. On the 12th of February 2025, with no cooperation, the OSP declared Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta a fugitive from justice, acting on an arrest warrant. On the 18th of February 2025, Mr. Ofori-Atta appealed to the OSP to remove his name from the wanted list and, for the first time, provided a definite return date, which is May 2025. The OSP accepted his assurance and subsequently took his name off the list. Now, March 2025, Mr. Ofori-Atta filed a lawsuit against the OSP and the Special Prosecutor seeking compensation for what he called an unlawful declaration of him as wanted and asked for the removal of related publication from the OSP's social media. 28th of March 2025, the Human Rights Court heard of interim application from Mr. Ofori-Atta asking that the OSP be barred from declaring him wanted. Now, the next steps are the 2nd of June 2025, Mr. Ofori-Atta is expected to report in person to the OSP headquarters. The OSP has stated that if he fails to appear, his name will be added back to the list of wanted persons and will again be declared a fugitive from justice. In such case, the OSP will also begin the process to request an Interpol red notice against him. As it stands now, we're also hearing that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has appealed to have a virtual meeting with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Dr. Ezekiel, this is your own man, one of your own, former finance minister. This is happening.
Please, before you come,
yes.
This is your own media house. Can you read your own?
I don't think Dr. Atta.
No, it's very important.
Okay.
You go back. This is from Joy.
Okay.
You can see Joy.
All right.
Read
Okay.
it. And
all right. We understand.
So
no, please.
Joy,
this is from Joy.
Can Joy also go and find out how much really the dollar is trading at today?
Oh.
As compared to what BOG is.
Don't worry, it can be done.
So you read the Joy one.
We'll come back to
okay.
you. Okay.
Because I wanted to put the record.
I'm saying that.
Even from your studios
I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
As at March.
Okay, you let me
I'm
read
saying
it.
that.
Yes. let me just clear it for him. We'll find today's.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
It says that the Ghanaian cedi has shown relative stability against the US dollar in recent months. For example, March 1st and March 10, 2025, the exchange rate moved from 15 Ghana cedis, 57 or let's say 59 pesos, 58 pesos. To 15 Ghana cedis, 61 pesos, reflecting a marginal
even as at March.
In March. So
yes,
are you following the discussion?
I'm following it. This stability was helped mitigate the impact of currency fluctuation.
Did my Joy online say that the 15 was as at Cedi?
So have you seen any depreciation this year?
Is that what it was reported?
This year, the cedi appreciated by 80%. There's no single depreciation.
Is that what is reported there?
Okay.
That the 15 was as at 6 January.
Okay.
But even to grant let my Joy go out and give us the actual cedi, what Abochi is selling it for
what
on the ground.
Forex is selling
yes, what Abochi is selling it for on the ground.
All right, please make your point. Please, let's go ahead and make our points.
Now let's set this background that the NPP as a party is not against accountability.
Okay.
If anyone had the opportunity to steer the affairs of the country in any capacity whatsoever, and there are questions around his or her stewardship, and the state wants to move in to have some clarity or ask questions concerning his or her stewardship, the NPP is in full support of it. what the NPP is against, and everyone, every Ghanaian, irrespective of your political persuasion, should be against, is the use of state apparatus or machinery to bully people, to intimidate people, to strip people of their rights. We can make an extension to what is happening to Chairman Wontumi and all that is happening. On the issue of the OSP versus Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, I'm a sucker for health. So I'm quite troubled that the OSP is at all costs demanding the presence of Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta in the country to face some questioning. He's already given some medical notes from his doctor, and the text you read said that even though it wasn't addressed to anyone specifically, let's throw some light on it. When doctors are giving medical reports, unless otherwise determined by the patient to be directed to a particular source, doctors make it an open letter to whom it may concern. Doctors make it an open letter. So I don't know if I could feel or sense any, diabolism in the text you read, that indeed, even with the medical note he brought, it wasn't addressed to anyone specifically.
Okay.
We always make it open to whom it may concern, then we go ahead to give whichever medical details we can give. I believe that if the man is indeed not well, we don't have to push him.
Right. But he also gave a date. He said he would definite return.
I can be managing you
in May.
I can be managing you, Rosalind, and per experience and what
could get better or worse.
I can postulate that Rosalind should be better by Friday. But we are humans. Your condition can change at any time.
Right.
Surprise will just spring up at any time and your condition will change. It is very easy for a country like Ghana, with all our international connections and bilateral relations here, there, all that. An ordinary factory or company somewhere, if I write a letter for you, a medical report for you, can easily trace the source of the letter. If I cook the letter somewhere, every facility would have a letterhead and contact details of that facility. So if indeed the man is not well, do we necessarily need him back into the country, regardless of his ill health? I mean, it really baffles my mind that people's natural right, which is right to health, should be curtailed because the person is demanded to answer certain questions. It's the reason why when anyone is detained in any of our security premises and the person sounds the alarm that I'm not feeling well, immediately medical help is sought for the person.
Now, this is a case whereby he's asking for a virtual meeting.
The man says that I am not well. I've brought a letter to that effect, which the OSP or the state could easily ascertain the veracity of the letter. If his condition has changed, it's incumbent on Mr. Ofori-Atta to further furnish the OSP with a change in his condition.
So this is it. If we take a look at what the report says, on the 18th of February 2025, Mr. Ofori-Atta appealed to the OSP to remove his name from the wanted list and, for the first time, provided a definite return date in May 2025.
I'm sure it was in consultation with his health providers.
Okay.
Indeed.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Of course, if his conditions...
No, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
This is a case whereby he gave a definite date.
Yes.
So knowing that you can't appear, knowing that your condition probably has deteriorated, probably the right thing to have done was to have written to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to let the Office of the Special Prosecutor know that looking at my condition, or from the doctor, looking at his condition, he still can't appear. And so let's give an extension. But then the Office of the Special Prosecutor probably didn't receive anything. They looked at the deadline and said, okay, if you don't show up, this is what we have to do.
I understand that lacuna clearly might have occasioned OSP's new release, which is perfectly understandable, that barring any communique to the effect that your condition has not improved, then you are demanded to come on the said date. I understand. That's why I'm saying that it's incumbent on Mr. Ofori-Atta to further furnish the OSP with any medical note to the situation. So the
OSP is not being.
I'm just saying that we should look at issues holistically.
Okay.
If the man isn't well, it will be difficult for him to appear before you. If he's not well, and he even appears to you, what is his state of reasoning at that point?
But is the OSP right to issue the statement?
And I'm saying the lacuna occasioned what OSP has written.
Yeah.
So the OSP cannot necessarily be faulted with what he has written.
All right.
So indeed, if there are genuine concerns vis-a-vis ill health, it's incumbent on Mr. Ofori-Atta to furnish the OSP with updates of his health status. But what, once again, we are saying as a party is that we are not against accountability. We are, however, against the processes we are seeing these days and the lack of following of due process when it comes to inviting people to come and attest or come and give evidence to their stewardship while in office. And I believe it's a right that we all enjoy, and irrespective of your political persuasion or color, we should all come together to make sure that due process is followed when it happens to someone, because it could easily happen to any one of us.
All right, fantastic.
All right, so I'll say that as a political class, one thing that we must always know is that the powers vested in us to execute responsibilities are appellant powers, meaning that the original holders of our power is the people. So at the end of every tenure, you are supposed to be subjected to account for the stewardship and how you handled the office. To that end, I don't see anything new in terms of prosecution or investigation of a past official. I think it has been usual anytime that there's a change in government, there's one way or the other subjecting past administration officers to account for their stewardship. So to that end, nothing new has happened. The second issue is that our friends from the NPP must also understand that there's a saying in our language that what you don't wish for yourself, don't wish it for your enemy. I'm sure if you were in this country in 2017, you see the Rambo-style arrests and ransacking of houses, even on magistrates of courts were ransacked by people or the NPP functionaries. So I don't feel happy what is going on, especially when it comes to how some of these excesses can happen in the pursuit of justice. But what you have read, the events, makes me worry that Ken Ofori-Atta is evasive of justice. How? To be honest with you, the 2nd June date is like a compromise date between the OSP and that of the Ken team and the lawyers. Is that not it? It's a compromise date. It's like both parties agreed
that by end of May.
End of May. Exactly, that he will make himself available for investigation. So this silence creates more room for people to give individual opinions on it. Like you said, I'm sure if he had written to the OSP, I'm sure the OSP would have notified Ghanaians, because everybody is like, we are taking notice of the date approaching. If you follow, even before this morning, over the weekend, people were already expectant that Ken Ofori-Atta would be in the country. So you don't subject the whole citizens into this high expectation mood or virtually divided political angles to your case. I think he creates more attention on him than necessary. Because if he had come quietly himself, he would have just done and depart the country again for medical treatment. Yes, also it's important that we also need to factor in his mental status and maybe his conditions.
Well, now he's asking for virtual meeting.
You see, that virtual was already kicked down in the past demand notice that was issued. So I don't know how the OSP will deal with this issue, but I wish him well. If you look at the extent or the enormity of the cases, you know that these are hefty and serious issues that we are talking about. The National Cathedral problem. Look, it will be the cardinal sin on the NDC government if we don't find the truth to that thing. It will be a cardinal sin. In fact, Ghanaians were shortchanged. Even God was shortchanged.
So are you going to investigate the board chairman too?
We will, everybody, that is part of this haste on the state. If you, anytime we go to Parliament and you are using the backside of Parliament, you see what is there. And they tell you the amount of money that was spent into getting that speak there. Whoever is responsible, I'm not saying Ken was solely responsible for that. That's why but it is one of the reasons, yes, it's one of the reasons that he's been arranged for investigation. Then the SML deal, even President Akufo-Addo had to stop that deal. President Akufo-Addo himself. So it tells you the seriousness of the matter. And if he is involved in that, he surely must be investigated, irrespective of wherever he is located currently. You look at the ambulance cases and the spare parts, and then the tax refund. You know, we did amendment to our Tax Administration Act that prohibits now, and we've reduced the threshold from 6 of tax revenue to 4. And now even the 4, it prohibits people from using it in any other activity except for purposes of tax refund. You could see the abuse of discretion there, misappropriation of that funds against the stated objective under the Tax Administration Act. So these are hefty issues that all citizens of Ghana, irrespective of your political leanings, must be interested in to find the truth to this issue. If these issues are investigated properly, wherever there are witches, they must be hunted. I don't want to care much about what will people say that you are prosecuting your opponents. Yes, prosecution of opponents.
Even the NPP saying that they account.
Yeah, I'm happy. Yes, right? I'm happy the way.
It's just a style.
Yes, you see, they shouldn't arrogate that right to only themselves. That you see, when they were in government, we saw worse than what is happening. So I'm saying that don't expect that level of reasonableness and that level of ethics and morality when it comes to an NDC. You measure a standard for us. But when it comes to you, you arrogate that absolute power to yourself and you do anything you want.
Are you repeating what they did?
We are not repeating anything. We are charting our own part.
Okay.
Their opinion really doesn't matter.
Okay.
What matters more is the issues to be established. If there are merits in it, then action should be taken.
All right.
And it's also a caution to current office holders in the government that there is always a day for accountability. So if you don't want to be subjected to this level of public harassment or torture or investigative torture, let me put it that way, you must do your job in accordance with our constitution and our laws, so that when you walk out of office in the next 8, 12, 13, or whatever years you walk out of office, you walk home without having any haggle on your neck. That's
all right. Thank you so much, Honorable Atta. Unfortunately, time is up, so we have 30 to go. Seconds. 30 seconds. Okay, what do you want to say?
What Honorable Atta has confirmed on this platform is that they believe certain acts were done against the NDC in 2017. So it's just a payback time. So with whatever is happening with Honorable Chairman Wontumi, it's a payback to what they believe was done to them. Secondly, he says that a heist was perpetuated on Ghana and Ghanaians. He's already called the case. So if the NDC is already calling the case, then clearly they are into witch hunts, not to find veracity to whatever they believe has been done. Because he's already called
is it normal?
So whatever will happen is purely political because the case is already predetermined.
That's what that's what is supposed to be.
That's what Honorable Atta has said.
Have you seen?
He's called it to be a heist. He's already made pronouncement of the case.
Okay. All right. Sure. So we'll read a few messages that have come in, and then we can round up the conversation. All right, so this one says that dear Roslyn, there are interesting times in Ghana. So Ken Ofori-Atta has the guts to dictate to the OSP after plundering and I think I read this one already, right? Okay, so I think I've done this one. OPK, Patriotic Voices, also regards to Mr. Mankwai Jari Isaac, incoming NPP Bono Regional Organizer, and Honorable Catherine Afeku, NPP National Women's Organizer, hopeful. Chema to me, human rights has been violated by Mahama and NDC government, and they are behaving as if we are in military rule without allowing his family to see him. And I'm surprised the human rights lawyers, CSOs, Catholic Bishops Conference, chiefs, etc., are all quiet because this is not the reset Mahama promised Ghanaians. And when power changes in 2028, CSOs, Catholic Bishops Conference, etc., should continue to be quiet because thrice worse things will happen. Oh, really? Don't say that. Don't be saying such things. Unfortunately, this has cut me from reading the rest. I don't think Honorable Atta Issa can produce any contract claiming to the exchange rate. According to Honorable Atta Issa, even in April, the dollar was trading at 15 Ghana cedis, 70 pesos. And I'm certain even today the dollar is sold about 15 cedis. No wonder traders don't want to reduce their prices. No, dollar is not sold about 15 cedis.
You don't know what's on the ground.
You don't know what's on the ground. Okay, all right. So it's a campaign promise by the NDC to remove the CJ. Ghanaians gave the NDC overwhelming 57% votes and almost 2/3 of seats, meaning Ghanaians gave President Mahama the mandate to remove the CJ, and many more such promises give Mahama room to reset Ghana. Patrick from Accra, good morning. Host as the MPP mandate. Okay, I don't know what you're trying to say. I really don't know what you're trying to say. But these are all. I wanted to go on Facebook to read a few comments. Let's see if we have some comments on Facebook as well. We'll read them quickly and we can go. And then also this weekend, we had our Big Chef cooking competition. Do you guys cook?
Yeah, I cook very well.
You cook very well?
I'm a very good
Ezekiel, you don't sound like it. As you're talking about it, the way your lips are shaking.
I cook very well.
Really?
Very well.
I see. Honorable Issa.
But you need to take medication before you eat.
Honorable Issa, do you cook well?
Some selected food that I can cook.
Okay.
You live the sort like I mean, NDC is in government. He doesn't need to worry himself in the kitchen.
This one you are possessed.
All right, so Big Chef cooking competition. We have a competition for children, you know, and they actually show us or showcase their culinary skills. They are very good in the kitchen, and they are doing it so well. I watch them and I get amazed. So this weekend it was beautiful, but unfortunately 2 people were evicted. Oh yes, they did a fish competition, so they had to prepare meals with fish. They did so well. No, these are not the contestants. I'm trying to get you to Facebook. And then we read some comments on Facebook. So they did so well. And so for those of you who haven't watched Big Chef yet, we'll be bringing you bits and pieces of what happened yesterday where 2 children were evicted. They cried so much, but it's part of the competition. So, hey, let's see what's going to happen with regards to the rest. But let me read a few comments here. Alhaji Sling 60 says that speaking with facts and full of energy, Honorable Atta Issa, may Allah guide and protect you. I read your message already on WhatsApp. Togbi Ehot DF says, good morning. Allow all the opposition party parents to do buying and selling and see 50% different pressed. Okay, President John Mahama, NDC. Musa Abatua Ken Ofori-Atta is clearly swerving accountability. The excuses are becoming one too many, and this latest attempt to seek a virtual interview under the guise of medical complications only adds to the suspicion. It's a calculated strategy to frustrate the process and avoid facing the full weight of the law. Ghanaians deserve transparency, not theatrics. Seth Shrez says, good morning. Please, we need the government to employ more work so that the youth can get some to do. There's no work in Ghana. Our system is very poor. Setho from Brekum. Bisomi the Prince. I am Comrade Prince Bisomi from Northern Region, Sagnarigo. That's your constituency. Tamale Airport Junction inside Yilo is at Nayele. Okay, electoral area, Kulmanga community. We are fortunate to have you as our beloved, hardworking chartered accountant, MP, Sagnarigu constituency. We love you to the bone, Honorable Atta Isa. Musa Abatwa, did I read Musa Abatwa already on, I think I did, on WhatsApp, right? Okay, so David Enua says, good news. Priscilla says, good morning, I'm watching you live from Mosu. And Bisiomi comes back and says, I'm Kumrud, I think I read Comrade Prince Bisiomi from Sagnarigu constituency. Thank you, JM administration, because I can use 20 Ghana cedis fuel or motorcycle from airport to junction to Tamale town for all errands in and out for 2 days without shortages compared to the previous wicked leadership, so-called. Okay. All right. So that will be all with regards to the messages this morning. And to you, my guest, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Dr. Agyekum represented the NPP and Honorable Atta Isa represented the NDC. We are grateful that you made time.
Thank you.
And a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise as well. Franco Trading Enterprise has all the gadgets that you need, from mobile phones, television sets, CCTV cameras, I mean any gadgets you could think of, and they are very authentic as well. Just go to them and they'll serve you. To make things very simple, just download their app on your phone, and when you do that, you can purchase any item at your convenience. And also for further inquiries, you can visit our website, which is www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still and still, phone prepare fee.